Well, I know the strat, I think, on that second fight. So if I can somehow calm my tilt, which is gonna be ridiculously fucking difficult, this might be doable. Or I mean, I obviously know it's doable, I just don't want to do it. That's just the main thing. When something is just designed so poorly, it's just like, it's not enticing whatsoever. It's just, you just want to get away. It's not fun.
Pitying him won't help now, Lute. All we can do is fight.
She is my knight, my sister.
We can't outrun these ones. We must get rid of them.
Sister, look out!
Now we've really got our hands full.
It just randomly decided to die. I wasn't sure what the hell that was because I didn't hit it, so it shouldn't die like that. But that helped, I guess. I don't know. Makes no sense.
Flying boulders. And here I was complaining about the monastery.
Alina's flying right through the storm. We can't be outdone, sister.
We won't.
Heck W. Heck fucking W, wasn't that funny?
She may think otherwise,
Ha 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 ha
but
ha.
she is a monster. Just like Jaden and Jerry.
Ah, double funny. Super funny. Game with 18.
Chaos be damned. She's just too quick.
Funny. Oh yeah, yes, do that one more time and I will just, I swear I will order more. What a fucking shit game this is.
Despite it all,
Everything
we're
has to
getting
just be
closer to the
ruined
cathedral.
besides few exceptions
We must prepare for
when
the
it comes to
worst.
these games.
I feel it.
And everything else is just ruled by something.
Flute, over there.
I am ready. Not on my way. We're stuck here.
Yes, of
Alina
course.
tortured him. It makes me so angry.
I'm not done yet.
More enemies! I hope we won't be too late.
swear this game's putting me in early retirement. This design choice, dear fucking heavens, I can't.
I will protect you, sister.
And you just be normal, game. Just gonna abuse this, I don't care.
We can't outrun these ones.
Funny
We
combo.
must get rid of them. I'm just warming up.
That's the. I don't think we have to fight anything else in this chapter. I kinda saw the men. As long as I don't fucking die or something. God game. Oh my god, game, don't do this right now. Don't do this right now. Fucking eating the inputs like fucking.
Hey! You
Did it
won't
is.
get away with this! Did you hear me? Stop running and fight us!
We don't need to go. Fuck.
Still nowhere in sight.
She had a head start. These boulders will surely slow us down.
I'm not giving up anyway. This one was too fast.
I don't care what's in this area, by the way.
storm is weaker here.
I'm getting the next checkpoint and
Arena
literally
must have
nothing
reached
else.
the
I don't care
cathedral
about
by
anything
now.
else. It could be the best loot in this, like, that down area, whatever the fuck that was. I don't care. I am comfortably never going there. Holy fuck, I'm so glad I will never do that again in my life. I don't think I'm gonna do another playthrough of this. I don't think I can do it. There is too many things wrong with this game for that. It's just like the best way to describe how this game feels to play is at best this game is like really like excellent, like when you have like a really good flow in an encounter of just doing certain combos. It's very fun, but then when you start getting into these encounters with like this absolutely like cracked like bad enemy design when it comes to like a game that tries to encourage you to use like long combos and mix-ups as a way to deal damage to enemies, when they put enemies in these encounters that just attack you so often and so fast with instant punishes that you literally do not have enough time to do any of the combos. So the game just becomes... It basically becomes like a Sekiro kind of thing, where you just do like some light attacks, some couple attacks with like certain weapons. What I'm doing here is just do like fast switches, do like a few attacks, and then just parry spam all the time, with, as well as dodge spam, because you cannot even stand in the same spot while doing like combos because of how the enemy attacks work. Like just some instant punishes, like just straight up go through like the loot's parry barrier completely. Like the game really ignores that. So it's just suffocating. That's what I would describe this game. Like I said that Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden felt like insufferable to play. Like the combat in that game feels insufferable. In this game, it feels suffocating. So it's like a kind of the same problem, but well, actually, I should not have said that. No, not really. Because the reason why it felt insufferable in Banishers is because the attacks themselves are a problem, as well as the enemy variety. While in this game, the attacks and the enemy variety is necessarily not the problem. It's just the what enemies they have decided to put into each encounter, which becomes a problem. And then there's like a couple outliers in enemy design that are just too much to put in any like these fights where there's several enemies, like way too much. Like that fucking lightning wraith enemy is like easily the worst enemy design in the game to have in a fight where you fight something besides just that enemy. And even if you fight just that enemy, you saw how I had to beat it every time. Like in this encounter. Like I basically just have to fucking wait till it doesn't attack, parry it, and then hope that I can do something after it. If there's still the electricity on the bubble after, then I take damage if I go close, so I can damage to it after parrying it. And if it's not there, then I can, but I have to chase it around, and it just perma teleports every time you get close. So, like, it's a bad enemy to fight when there's no enemies around. It's a bad enemy to fight when there is enemies around. It's just really bad design, that one. Really bad gameplay design on that one, I say. But yeah, this game, it's just like the encounters just feel suffocating. Like the more I have played this, the less I feel like there is creativeness in the like encounters of how you fight, like approach an encounter, and it feels more like you are forced to play an encounter in a certain way, because of how they have decided to make these encounters in the latter half of the game. Like, I think the encounters were totally fine until, like, we got the high wall of, like, Ilden area. Like, when we got to that area, I think to that point in the game, the encounters were fine. They didn't feel, like, overly suffocating, or, like, to the point where, like, you felt like you had no, like, freedom of movement of how you like play out fights. But now when they decided to like go complete fucking psycho mode with what enemies they put in a single encounter and how many of them at the same time as well, like it feels like I literally never have enough time to do anything creative in a fight. It's just like permanent oppression from just enemy instant punish attacks from every angle. Like, it kind of defeats the purpose of this game being like a hack and slash even, you know, in its core. Because the enemies attack you so often and from so many different angles all the time that, like, you don't have enough time to have it be a hack and slash, you know? It's kind of like fails at being what it is in its core. And that's a very big shame to say and to feel about this game, because I genuinely feel like this game, until this second half of the game to this point, was actually really nice to play. Though there is some like fundamentally like dislikable mechanics for me personally. The mission system is one of them. The chapter system, I'm never a fan of that in any game. Even in Armored Core 6, it was one of the things that made the game significantly worse for me, even if there's a good lore reason as to why. You know, you have the garage for like your mech. You like repair the mech, upgrade the mech, and buy parts and all that. So it makes sense story-wise as to why there is the mission system, you know? You are a mercenary that takes like applications from like big mega corporations, and you do their dirty work in that game. Or sent out on basically assignments. So it makes sense for the story as to why there is mission system in that game. Yet, it was still one of the things in Armored Core 6 that made the game worse for me personally, because I do not like that in any game. It ruins the immersion for me of the game world that I'm experiencing when I play a game. When there is like a hub area that is kind of like a main menu sort of thing that doesn't like... It's not like a Majula from Dark Souls 2 or Firelink Shrine from Dark Souls 1 or 3, where it's like a hub, like actual hub area where you just walk around kind of thing. Like, that's different. Like, that is way different than having it be like a main menu where there is just some like upgrades, your stats, or like, you know, something like that, you know. It's kind of like a transitory period or transitional period between being able to go to the next mission, because the game wants you to like upgrade or like repair your equipment or like whatever. Like it kind of like makes the game feel more like incoherent, I guess, to its story when those sections exist. It's kind of like the game reminds you, like meta breaks kind of reminds you that it is a game rather than you're experiencing something special, you know? That's kind of what I feel with this every time. So I'm never been a fan of it, really. And the other thing that I'm not a fan of is the combat in like in general. Like actually, all of this I was just saying is something that I was thinking to myself when I was walking a few days ago, like outside. Actually, come to think of it, might be funny actually sometimes to just go ahead and just record some of my own like babbling outside when I just go out on a walk and just talk to myself for entertainment sometimes, you know? Like I bet some weird person online would be interested in listening to that, but well, there's some interesting thoughts that I always have, and one of them was thinking about how this game is, and exactly everything I was saying like right now is exactly the things I was thinking then. But yeah, another problem is that this game is fundamentally based on like some very popular like side-scroller games, like, you know, like old DMC games, basically Devil May Cry games, and then like God of War 1, 2, and 3, basically the original trilogy. That's like a very strong inspiration what this game has taken from, obviously. So let's take God of War 1 to 3 as an example. So in God of War 1 to 3, all of them, like when you're transitioning between like one big encounter between enemies, previous encounter where you fought like a big group of enemies, there's always like some enemies scattered here and there on the transitionary periods that are kind of just they are basically there for you to just kind of feel yourself. They are like literally there to just be like low pressure enemies where you're just supposed to like just have fun, like entertain yourself by just basically killing them, like killing a small group of enemies by having there be like a very small risk if you like fail or take damage or something, because, you know, it's not supposed to be a hard encounter or anything. Like those kinds of encounters are scattered in the God of War like 1 to 3, basically, between like the big encounters where there's actually like enemies are like respawning all the time in the fight, and you spend like 5 minutes fighting the enemies, and, you know, yada yada yada. That's basically what this game only consists of. But when you have a side, like one of these like hack and slash like side scroller games where you only have encounters that are big and they feel like oppressive, suffocating, and very like impactful, like this game does, especially when it like hammers down the idea of like trying to be like a perfectionist or like trying to go for like high scores with your combos with this like score mechanic that the game has. Like it like really hammers down this idea where when you get into an encounter, you don't really feel like you're encouraged exactly to try out stuff, that where you feel like you might be punished by the game or the enemies, because every encounter that you go into is a big encounter and you probably have to take it more serious, because the enemy like quantity as well as what the enemies are in the encounters are usually like very oppressive. So you don't typically feel like you have enough time, and you typically don't feel like it's risk-free enough for you to try new stuff that you haven't tried before. You know what I mean, right? So in the God of War like 1 to 3 as an example, or even the God of War reboot 2018, or like fucking Ragnarok or something, like all of those games have like these random ass enemies scattered here and there on like the transitionary periods between one important encounter and another important encounter, where there's more enemies, like, you know, there's fewer amount of enemies scattered throughout the areas where you just parkour, where you just loot stuff. And those are the types of enemies where you can be like, okay, because there's very little risk here, I might as well try new stuff. I might as well practice like a new combo or test the new damage of the weapon that I just got, or like whatever. You know, it encourages the player more to be more like experimental with what they like to do. you know? So it kind of like it feeds into the player's like extrinsic like want or motivation to be more creative with the game's combat. When you have encounters in the game that are very low risk, where you just get to like test out stuff easily all the time, and then you have these big encounters where you can like apply the stuff that you have been practicing here and there, while like on like small like shit enemies here and there that have just scattered around for you to be like basically practice dummies, you know? But you know what I mean by that, right? This game doesn't have that. So every encounter you go into, it feels like it's just oppressive, it's suffocating, you have barely enough time to do anything. It's just, every encounter just feels like, it's just like, you're just there to survive. It doesn't feel like you're there to thrive, it feels like you're there to survive. And that's not the feeling you want to experience when you play a game like this, in my opinion. With my experience, I mean, at least. So, that's one of the very big things that if I cannot change the mission system in this game, which is fine, I guess, sure, then I bet the developers did test having like the point system be completely different. Like it could be like in Forspoken, for example, where the point system could literally just work as in when you fight enemies in combat, it just records like an S rank or something. Or in this game's instance, it would be like from like iron to diamond rank, you know, like this game does it. So it would just be like an icon on the top right of the screen where it goes to from bronze to diamond, depending like from all the different modifiers of what combos you use, what attacks you use, did you take damage, what the time is with the encounter, all of that stuff. Like it could just calculate that in live time and just have it like be like a side content kind of thing. It's like you're not really thriving or striving towards like getting a better score, but it's just nice to see, right? That's what it is. And maybe it gives like more red essence that you use to like upgrade Briar's abilities depending how high score you get there at the end, right? Like it does already, but for like any encounter with like random shit enemies here and there scattered around the world, right? But just don't have it be like as like big of a deal every encounter, you know? It's like you don't really look forward for encounters when it's just like every encounter just feels oppressive, big, suffocating, and you just don't really have the willingness to just throw yourself and just like test out new stuff rather than just staying on your comfort zone, because every encounter just keeps increasing its difficulty with what the developers have put in the encounters and the quantity of enemies themselves. It's a problem. And I very seriously want to like this game more. I really want to like this game more. Because in this game's instance, like with the way it exactly is, if I would just play the first half of this game from start to the first half, so like say like maybe chapter 16 or 17 from chapter 1, I think this game to that point it feels pretty damn excellent to play. But after that point, like this late game half has been absolutely suffocating to play. These encounters, they are just like every encounter, I'm literally like when I get past an encounter, it's just a relief. I don't feel happy or triumphant about it. I just feel like relief, like fuck, it's over, you know? Then I get in, when I'm about to go into the next encounter, I see like a room where I'm like, oh, there's gonna be enemies probably here. I'm not excited about it. I'm like, you know, that's kind of what I feel. Like, I feel a sense of fucking dread when I see a room where I'm like, enemies could spawn here, and I'm thinking to myself like what are they gonna put in this room? It's gonna be some very fucking annoying enemy combination that it's not gonna be fun to play with and the game, and it's not gonna be enough time to do like fun combos and stuff. Something, you know, what this game actually tries to do when it's so like combo heavy. It tries to emphasize like scores, combos and all that, and then it puts consistently rooms of enemies where you basically have never more than like 2 or 3 seconds of time for your character to be standing still, like doing a combo while attacking, pretty much. Because you always have to be also dashing away from the enemies, not just parrying with loot, because of how the enemy's instant punish attack works. Okay, I've ranted enough, let's continue. But yeah, that's how I feel about this game, by this point. If you were to ask how I felt about this game precisely before I got to the second half of this game to this point, I would have said that this game feels very good to play. But now I'm gonna have to change my opinion, like I already did, and explained it very thoroughly as to why that is. So, it's unfortunate that it is like that, but it's what it is. Also, let's take that.